In the dimly lit chambers of Renaissance Florence, where political intrigue danced with philosophical revelation, Niccolò Machiavelli penned thoughts that would echo through centuries. But beyond his famous treatises on power and statecraft lay deeper insights into the human condition, truths about love, partnership, and the fundamental transformation required to recognize one's true companion. This document explores Machiavelli's lesser-known wisdom on matters of the heart, woven together with his profound understanding of human strength and weakness. The morning sun cast long shadows across the marble floors of the Palazzo Vecchio, as Lorenzo de' Medici's court buzzed with the usual mixture of ambition and anxiety. It was here that Machiavelli first observed the curious phenomenon that would later inform his understanding of true partnership. Those who had mastered themselves possessed an almost supernatural ability to recognize others of similar fortitude, while those still enslaved by their weaknesses remained blind to authentic connection, forever attracted to mirrors of their own frailty. Fortune favors the bold, he had written in his political works, but in the quiet moments between diplomatic missions, Machiavelli contemplated a different kind of fortune, the fortune of finding someone whose strength complemented rather than competed with one's own. He noticed that the most successful alliances, both political and personal, were formed not between the powerful and the weak, but between those who had each conquered their own internal kingdoms. The concept began to crystallize during his exile in Sant'Andrea in Percasina, where, stripped of political power and social position, he was forced to confront the raw truth of his own character. It was in this period of enforced solitude that he began to understand the first fundamental principle: a person cannot truly recognize their destined partner until they have first destroyed the weak aspects of their own nature. The weak self, driven by insecurity, neediness, and fear, creates a distorted lens through which all relationships are viewed. It seeks not a complement but a crutch, not a partner but a parent or a child to control. Machiavelli observed this phenomenon repeatedly in the marriages and alliances around him. Those who approached relationships from positions of internal weakness invariably chose partners who either enabled their weakness or possessed complementary weaknesses that created the illusion of balance. The insecure chose the domineering, the lazy chose the controlling, the fearful chose the reckless. These relationships, while sometimes stable in their dysfunction, never achieved the heights of true partnership that he witnessed in rare couples who had each done the difficult work of self-mastery. The transformation required was not merely intellectual but visceral, a complete dismantling of the ego structures that had been built around insecurity, fear, and the desperate need for external validation. Machiavelli understood that this process was as brutal and necessary as any political revolution, requiring the same courage, strategy, and unwavering commitment to truth that characterized successful statecraft. During his observations of Cesare Borgia's campaigns, Machiavelli noted how the most effective leaders possessed an almost uncanny ability to identify individuals who would remain loyal under pressure. This same principle, he realized, applied to matters of the heart. Those who had forged their character in the fires of self-discipline and honest self-assessment developed an intuitive ability to recognize similar qualities in others, while those still governed by their baser impulses remained susceptible to superficial attractions and temporary infatuations. The weak self, Machiavelli observed, was characterized by several unmistakable traits: the constant need for reassurance, the tendency to lose oneself in the emotions and moods of others, the inability to maintain consistent standards and boundaries, and most critically, the persistent belief that happiness and security could be found outside oneself. This weak self was not merely a personality flaw, but a fundamental orientation toward life that colored every decision, every attraction, and every relationship choice. In contrast, the individual who had successfully destroyed their weak self exhibited qualities that were immediately recognizable to others of similar development: emotional independence that paradoxically enabled deeper intimacy, the ability to maintain their principles under pressure, genuine confidence that didn't require constant reinforcement, and most importantly, the capacity to love without losing themselves in the process. The destruction of the weak self was not a one-time event, but a continuous process of choosing strength over comfort, truth over convenience, and growth over stagnation. Machiavelli documented this process through careful observation of individuals who had undergone this transformation, noting that it typically involved several distinct phases: the recognition of one's weakness, the acceptance of responsibility for changing it, the sustained effort required to build new habits and thought patterns, and finally, the integration of these changes into a new, more robust sense of self. What fascinated Machiavelli most was how this internal transformation affected one's ability to recognize a true partner. Those still operating from weakness were attracted to external qualities, beauty, wealth, status, or charm that promised to fill the voids in their own character. But those who had achieved internal mastery found themselves drawn to entirely different qualities: integrity under pressure, kindness without weakness, intelligence combined with wisdom, and most critically, evidence that the other person had also done the difficult work of self-mastery. The signs that someone was truly meant for you, according to Machiavelli's observations, were subtle but unmistakable to those with the eyes to see them. Unlike the dramatic passion and constant drama that characterized relationships between weak individuals, true partnerships revealed themselves through a sense of deep recognition, as if meeting someone you had always known but never met. There was an immediate comfort combined with inspiration, a feeling of coming home while simultaneously being challenged to grow. In the bustling markets of Florence, Machiavelli often watched couples navigate the complexities of daily life, noting how those in true partnerships moved with a kind of synchronized independence. They supported each other without losing themselves, disagreed without destroying trust, and faced external challenges with a united front that never compromised their individual integrity. These relationships possessed a quality of inevitability, as if the universe itself had conspired to bring these particular individuals together. The strongest indicator of a destined partnership, Machiavelli observed, was the way both individuals continued to grow and evolve in each other's presence. Weak relationships were characterized by stagnation or regression, with one or both partners becoming smaller, more fearful, or more limited in their ambitions and dreams. But true partnerships created an alchemical reaction where each person became more fully themselves, more confident in their abilities, and more courageous in pursuing their highest aspirations. Another crucial sign was the quality of conflict within the relationship. Those operating from weakness engaged in destructive patterns of blame, manipulation, and emotional warfare designed to avoid addressing the real issues. But individuals who had mastered themselves engaged in conflict as a tool for deeper understanding and growth. They could disagree passionately while maintaining respect, challenge each other's ideas while supporting each other's character, and navigate difficult conversations with the shared goal of strengthening rather than winning. Machiavelli also noted that true partners possessed complementary strengths rather than matching weaknesses. Where one was naturally gifted, the other was genuinely admiring rather than envious. Where one struggled, the other offered support without enabling dependency. This created a dynamic tension that kept both individuals growing and prevented the relationship from falling into comfortable but limiting patterns. The physical attraction between true partners, while often intense, was qualitatively different from the desperate neediness that characterized weaker connections. It was based not on filling a void, but on celebrating abundance, not on possessing the other, but on appreciating their independent wholeness. This attraction typically deepened over time as both individuals continued to evolve, rather than fading as familiarity bred contempt. Perhaps most importantly, Machiavelli observed that individuals destined for each other shared a similar relationship with truth. They were both willing to face uncomfortable realities about themselves and their circumstances, both committed to growth even when it was difficult, and both possessed the courage to live authentically rather than according to others' expectations. This shared commitment to truth created a foundation of trust that could weather any external storm. The process of destroying the weak self, Machiavelli understood, was not about becoming hard or emotionally closed. Rather, it was about developing what he called strategic vulnerability, the ability to be open and loving from a position of strength rather than need. Those who had achieved this transformation could offer their hearts fully while maintaining their center, could commit completely while preserving their autonomy, and could love deeply without losing themselves in the process. This transformation required what Machiavelli termed the discipline of solitude, the willingness to spend significant time alone, examining one's motivations, confronting one's fears, and building a relationship with oneself that was honest, compassionate, and demanding. Only through this process of self-examination could one develop the internal compass necessary to recognize a true partner when they appeared. The weak self, driven by fear and insecurity, was always in a hurry to find someone, anyone, to fill the void and provide the security that seemed so elusive. But the individual who had destroyed their weak self understood that rushing into connection from a place of desperation was the surest way to create another disappointing relationship. They developed the patience to wait, the discernment to choose wisely, and most importantly, the self-knowledge to recognize when they encountered someone operating from a similar level of personal mastery. Machiavelli's observations of successful partnerships revealed another crucial element. Both individuals had typically experienced and overcome significant challenges before meeting each other. These shared experiences of adversity had forged their characters and given them the wisdom to appreciate what they had found in each other. They understood that true partnership was not about avoiding life's difficulties, but about facing them together with greater strength than either could muster alone. The timing of true partnerships, Machiavelli noted, was rarely convenient or expected. They often occurred when individuals had finally made peace with the possibility of remaining single, having discovered that their own company was not only tolerable but genuinely enjoyable. This internal contentment created the perfect conditions for recognizing someone who enhanced rather than completed their lives. One of the most reliable signs that someone was truly meant for you, according to Machiavelli's observations, was the way they responded to your strength rather than your weakness. Weak individuals were often attracted to others' vulnerabilities, seeing them as opportunities for control or evidence that they were needed. But those operating from true strength were drawn to others' capabilities, celebrating their achievements, and encouraging their growth even when it meant less dependence on the relationship. The conversations between true partners possessed a quality that was immediately recognizable to those with experience in such connections. There was a depth that went beyond surface pleasantries, an intellectual sparring that enhanced rather than threatened, and an emotional intimacy that felt both natural and profound. These individuals could sit in comfortable silence or engage in passionate debate with equal ease, always returning to a foundation of mutual respect and genuine affection. Machiavelli also observed that true partners often shared similar values and life philosophies while possessing different personality traits and skills. This combination created both harmony and dynamic tension, allowing them to agree on what mattered most while bringing different perspectives and abilities to their shared challenges. They were aligned in their direction but diverse in their approaches, creating a powerful combination of unity and creativity. The way potential partners treated others, particularly those with less power or status, revealed crucial information about their character. Machiavelli noted that those who had truly mastered themselves treated everyone with basic respect and dignity, while those still operating from weakness often displayed cruelty or condescension toward those they perceived as inferior. This behavior was not merely about kindness, but about the fundamental security that came from having done the work of self-development. Financial attitudes and behaviors provided another window into character. Those who had destroyed their weak selves had developed a healthy relationship with money, neither obsessed with accumulating it nor careless in spending it, but viewing it as a tool for creating the life they desired. They were generous without being foolish, careful without being stingy, and ambitious without being greedy. This balanced approach to resources indicated a broader pattern of self-mastery that extended into all areas of life. The way someone handled success and failure revealed the depth of their character development. Those still governed by their weak selves became arrogant in success and devastated by failure, allowing external circumstances to determine their internal state. But individuals who had achieved true strength remained humble in victory and resilient in defeat, understanding that both were temporary experiences that provided opportunities for growth and learning. True partners, Machiavelli observed, possessed what he called complementary independence. They were each capable of managing their own lives successfully while choosing to share that life with another. This was fundamentally different from the codependent relationships that characterized connections between weak individuals, where each person required the other to function properly. Complementary independence allowed for true intimacy because neither person was afraid of losing themselves in the relationship. The sexual chemistry between true partners was often described as inevitable rather than desperate. It arose naturally from their deep compatibility and mutual admiration rather than from unmet needs or unconscious psychological patterns. This chemistry typically intensified over time as their emotional and intellectual connection deepened, creating a positive feedback loop that strengthened all aspects of their relationship. One of Machiavelli's most profound insights was that true partners often experienced a sense of coming home when they met, not because they were similar in superficial ways, but because they recognized in each other the same commitment to growth, truth, and authentic living. This recognition often occurred beneath the level of conscious awareness, creating an immediate sense of trust and comfort that seemed to bypass the usual stages of relationship development. The families and friends of true partners often noticed changes in both individuals after they met. They became more confident, more creative, more generous, and more willing to take positive risks. Rather than limiting each other's growth, as often happened in weaker relationships, they seem to amplify each other's best qualities and encourage each other's highest aspirations. Machiavelli also noted that true partners shared similar timelines for major life decisions. They were typically ready for commitment, marriage, children, or other significant steps at roughly the same time, without either having to convince or pressure the other. This natural synchronization reflected their similar levels of maturity and their aligned visions for the future. The way potential partners handled disagreement and conflict provided crucial information about their suitability for long-term partnership. Those who had not yet destroyed their weak selves engaged in patterns of blame, defensiveness, and manipulation when challenged. But individuals operating from true strength could disagree passionately while maintaining respect, could admit when they were wrong, and could work together to find solutions that honored both perspectives. Another reliable indicator was the way someone spoke about their previous relationships. Those still governed by weakness either demonized their former partners or took complete responsibility for every problem, unable to see their own role objectively. But individuals who had achieved self-mastery could discuss their relationship history with balanced perspective, acknowledging both their own mistakes and their former partner's contributions to both the successes and failures they had experienced. The spiritual or philosophical compatibility between true partners was often profound, even when they came from different religious or cultural backgrounds. They shared fundamental beliefs about the nature of life, the importance of growth, and the value of authentic living. This deeper alignment created a foundation that could support differences in opinion about smaller matters while maintaining unity on the issues that truly mattered. True partners, Machiavelli observed, often experienced what he called effortless effort in their relationship. While they were willing to work on their connection and address challenges as they arose, the basic flow of their partnership felt natural and sustainable rather than forced or exhausting. They didn't have to work hard to like each other, to enjoy each other's company, or to want the best for each other. The way someone treated their own body and health provided insights into their overall approach to self-mastery. Those who had destroyed their weak selves had typically developed sustainable habits that supported their physical well-being, not from vanity, but from a genuine respect for the vessel that carried their consciousness through life. They exercised regularly without obsession, ate well without rigidity, and took care of themselves without narcissism. Financial compatibility between true partners was rarely about having similar incomes, but rather about sharing similar values regarding money, security, and generosity. They were typically aligned in their approach to saving and spending, their attitudes toward debt and investment, and their beliefs about the role of money in creating a meaningful life. This alignment prevented many of the conflicts that destroyed relationships between otherwise compatible individuals. The way potential partners interacted with children, animals, and elderly people revealed important aspects of their character. Those who had achieved true strength naturally expressed kindness and patience with vulnerable beings, not from obligation but from genuine compassion. This behavior indicated a fundamental security and generosity of spirit that would extend into all areas of the relationship. Machiavelli noted that true partners often shared similar energy levels and social preferences, though not necessarily identical ones. They might both be introverts or extroverts, or one might be social while the other was more private, but their basic approaches to managing energy and social interaction were compatible rather than conflicting. This prevented the exhaustion and resentment that often arose when very different personality types tried to force incompatible lifestyles. The intellectual compatibility between destined partners was often remarkable, not because they always agreed, but because they enjoyed the process of thinking together. They challenged each other's ideas in ways that felt stimulating rather than threatening, introduced each other to new concepts and perspectives, and created a kind of mental chemistry that made ordinary conversations feel extraordinary. True partners also typically shared similar approaches to personal growth and development. They were both readers or both experiential learners, both interested in therapy or both committed to spiritual practices, both focused on career development or both prioritizing family life. This alignment ensured that they would continue growing in the same direction rather than gradually diverging as they evolved. The way someone handled success in other people's lives revealed important character traits. Those still governed by their weak selves often struggled with envy or competitiveness when others achieved recognition or prosperity. But individuals who had mastered themselves could genuinely celebrate others' successes, understanding that another person's achievement didn't diminish their own possibilities. Physical attraction between true partners was often described as having a quality of rightness rather than desperation or obsession. They found each other beautiful in ways that went beyond conventional standards, appreciated each other's physical presence without objectification, and experienced a kind of attraction that seemed to deepen rather than fade with familiarity. The families of origin of true partners, while often very different in structure and style, typically had similar levels of health or dysfunction. This wasn't about finding someone from a perfect family, but rather about finding someone who had done similar amounts of work to heal from whatever challenges their upbringing had presented. This parallel processing ensured that neither partner was significantly more or less emotionally developed than the other. Machiavelli observed that true partners often had complementary skills and interests that allowed them to create a life together that was richer than either could have built alone. One might be artistic while the other was analytical. One might be social while the other was introspective. One might be adventurous while the other was grounding. These differences enhanced rather than threatened their connection because both individuals were secure enough in themselves to appreciate what the other brought to their partnership. The way potential partners handled stress and crisis provided crucial information about their suitability for long-term commitment. Those who had not yet destroyed their weak selves often became emotionally volatile, blamed others for their problems, or retreated into destructive behaviors when facing challenges. But individuals operating from true strength maintained their center during difficult times, took responsibility for their responses, and looked for constructive solutions rather than dwelling on problems. True partners often experienced what Machiavelli called natural rhythms in their relationship. Periods of intense connection alternating with comfortable independence. Times of serious focus balanced with playful interaction. Moments of deep intimacy followed by respectful space. These rhythms felt organic rather than forced and seemed to serve the growth and well-being of both individuals. The way someone managed their relationship with technology and social media provided insights into their level of self-mastery. Those who had destroyed their weak selves used these tools intentionally rather than compulsively, maintained their privacy and boundaries online, and didn't seek validation through digital means. They understood that virtual connections, while valuable, could never replace the depth and authenticity of real-world relationships. Career attitudes and behaviors revealed important character traits. True partners were typically individuals who had found ways to align their work with their values, who took pride in their contributions without defining themselves entirely through their professional achievements, and who supported each other's career growth without competition or resentment. The way potential partners talked about the future provided crucial information about their readiness for serious commitment. Those still governed by weakness often had vague or unrealistic plans, changed their minds frequently based on external circumstances, or avoided making concrete commitments out of fear. But individuals who had achieved self-mastery had clear visions for their lives that were both ambitious and achievable, and they were willing to make the sacrifices necessary to achieve their goals. True partners often shared similar relationships with risk-taking. They were both willing to take calculated risks to achieve their dreams, but weren't reckless or impulsive in their decision-making. This balance between courage and wisdom allowed them to support each other in pursuing challenging goals while maintaining the stability necessary for a secure partnership. The way someone handled privacy and boundaries in relationships revealed the depth of their emotional development. Those who had not yet mastered themselves often violated others' boundaries or failed to maintain their own, creating drama and confusion in their connections. But individuals operating from strength respected both their own and others' need for privacy, understanding that healthy boundaries actually enabled deeper intimacy by creating safety and trust. Machiavelli noted that true partners often experienced a quality of timelessness when they were together. Hours could pass like minutes when they were engaged in conversation or shared activities, while brief separations could feel much longer than they actually were. This alteration in the perception of time seemed to indicate a deep neurological and emotional compatibility that went beyond conscious attraction. The way potential partners treated service workers, subordinates, and others with less power revealed crucial character traits. Those who had achieved true strength were consistently respectful and kind to everyone, regardless of their social status or what they could offer in return. This behavior indicated a fundamental security and humanity that would extend into all areas of the relationship. Financial transparency and responsibility were hallmarks of individuals ready for true partnership. They were honest about their financial situation, responsible in their spending and saving, and willing to discuss money matters openly without shame or defensiveness. This transparency created the trust necessary for building a shared financial future. True partners often shared similar attitudes toward adventure and novelty. They might both love travel or both prefer familiar routines, both enjoy trying new things, or both value consistency and tradition. This alignment prevented conflicts over how to spend time and money and ensured that both partners felt their preferences were respected and accommodated. The way someone handled their relationship with their own emotions provided insights into their emotional maturity. Those who had destroyed their weak selves could feel their emotions fully without being controlled by them, could express their feelings appropriately without drama or manipulation, and could support others emotionally without losing themselves in the process. Machiavelli observed that true partners often had what he called compatible healing journeys. They had both done significant work to address their psychological and emotional wounds, though not necessarily through the same methods or at the same pace. This parallel commitment to healing ensured that neither partner was significantly more emotionally developed than the other. The way potential partners handled success and recognition revealed important aspects of their character. Those still governed by their weak selves either craved constant praise or rejected compliments entirely, unable to accept recognition gracefully. But individuals who had achieved self-mastery could appreciate acknowledgement without needing it, could celebrate their achievements without arrogance, and could handle criticism constructively without defensiveness. Physical health and fitness approaches provided another window into someone's relationship with self-discipline and long-term thinking. True partners had typically developed sustainable approaches to maintaining their physical well-being that reflected their broader commitment to taking care of themselves and being responsible partners. The quality of friendship someone maintained revealed crucial information about their capacity for healthy relationships. Those who had destroyed their weak selves typically had a few deep, long-lasting friendships characterized by mutual respect, support, and growth. They had learned to choose their companions wisely and to invest in relationships that enhanced rather than drained their lives. Machiavelli noted that true partners often experienced a phenomenon he called accelerated intimacy. They seemed to develop deep trust and connection more quickly than usual, not because they were rushing, but because they recognized in each other the qualities that made vulnerability safe and intimacy possible. The way someone handled their relationship with their family of origin provided insights into their emotional development and their capacity for navigating complex relationships. Those who had achieved self-mastery had typically found ways to maintain appropriate boundaries with family members while preserving loving connections where possible. Spiritual or philosophical practices, whether formal or informal, often revealed someone's commitment to growth and meaning-making. True partners didn't necessarily share identical beliefs, but they both had some framework for understanding life's deeper questions and their own purpose within the larger scheme of existence. The way potential partners approached conflict resolution in all areas of their lives, with friends, family, colleagues, and service providers, revealed their fundamental approach to relationships. Those operating from strength sought understanding and solution rather than victory, could admit when they were wrong, and work to repair damage rather than simply moving on from problems. True partners often shared similar timelines for personal development milestones. They had typically achieved certain levels of emotional maturity, financial stability, and life clarity at roughly the same pace, ensuring that they were ready for the same level of commitment at the same time. The way someone talked about their dreams and aspirations revealed their relationship with hope, ambition, and personal power. Those who had destroyed their weak selves had dreams that were both inspiring and achievable, and they were actively working toward them rather than simply wishing or complaining about obstacles. Machiavelli observed that the strongest indicator of a destined partnership was the way both individuals continued to feel like themselves, only better when they were together. Rather than losing their identity in the relationship or feeling diminished by their partner's presence, they experienced an amplification of their best qualities and a courage to express parts of themselves that had previously remained hidden. The destruction of the weak self, Machiavelli concluded, was not a luxury for those seeking extraordinary partnerships, but a necessity for anyone who hoped to recognize and maintain a relationship worthy of their highest potential. Those who remained enslaved to their insecurities, fears, and neediness would continue to attract partners who reflected and enabled these qualities, creating relationships that were stable in their dysfunction but incapable of inspiring growth or lasting fulfillment. But those brave enough to undertake the difficult work of self-mastery would find themselves with the eyes to see and the wisdom to choose partners who had undertaken similar journeys. Together, they would create relationships characterized not by desperate need, but by generous abundance, not by the fear of loss, but by the joy of shared growth. and not by the illusion of completion, but by the reality of two whole people choosing to build something greater than either could achieve alone. The man or woman who destroys their weak self becomes indestructible, not because they no longer face challenges or experience pain, but because they have built within themselves the resources to handle whatever life presents. And it is this inner strength that creates the foundation for recognizing and maintaining the kind of partnership that enhances rather than limits, inspires rather than diminishes, and endures not because it is easy, but because it is built on the solid ground of two individuals who have each done the work of becoming worthy of extraordinary love. In the end, Machiavelli's insights reveal that finding someone truly meant for you is not about luck, timing, or even compatibility in the conventional sense. It is about the courage to face yourself honestly, the discipline to change what must be changed, and the wisdom to recognize in another the same commitment to truth, growth, and authentic living that you have developed within yourself. The weak attract the weak, but the strong, having destroyed what was false within themselves, naturally recognize and are recognized by others who have made the same courageous journey from limitation to liberation, from need to abundance, from fear to love.